Captain Orcs stood at the rim of the observation dome aboard Ethulia, her multifaceted eyes tracing the silver-blue currents of the Raxuron expanse. Beyond the transparent serum glass, nebula tendrils billowed like cosmic silk, and distant suns winked with indifferent light. To the Kalari High Command, these swirling gas giants and asteroid storms were mere backdrops for a grand design, one where each conquest was a step toward universal order. From her polished carapace to the neural weave entwined in her spine, every part of Celia's being had been honed for war, not for the chaotic melees favored by lesser species, but for warfare as pure logic, a cascade of probabilities where victory was etched in quantum calculations and executed with surgical precision. At her side, Commander Rethan oversaw the tactical holomap, its shifting fractal projections predicting enemy positions and shield harmonics to 12 decimal places. In 40 standard cycles, the Iridiani uprising will be neutralized, Rethan reported, his six-lensed head bobbing in perfect rhythm. He toggled a crystal interface, and the map reconfigured, showing the planet Prismatic's fall, the orbital drone barrage over Vunrock fields, the silent surrender of the Solaran enclave. All data aligns with Protocol Theta-3. No anomalies. Celia's mandibles clicked softly. No species has proven an exception. We are, by design, the apex of martial evolution. She recalled the First Legion's glory, the time when Kalari fleets carved out entire star clusters with fold-beam cannons. She had memorized every line of the High Command's treatise on the art of conflict and had proven herself in simulation and skirmish alike. To her, war was art, and the Kalari had mastered it. But even genius can breed hubris. In the mess, all below deck, officers discussed the deployment of phase disruptor micro-drone swarms that could collapse planetary shields within minutes. Their laughter was crisp and disciplined, free of the chaotic passions that human historians claimed drove other civilizations. The Kalari believed emotion to be a tactical weakness, an unpredictable variable best eradicated from the battlefield. As Ethulia's engines hummed toward hyperspace, Celia allowed herself a rare moment of introspection. The crystalline corridors of her flagship, gleaming with cold efficiency, felt like the heart of an impenetrable fortress. Yet somewhere beyond their charts lay Iridia Prime, a world of tumultuous skies and fierce defenders. Tomorrow, she mused, the Kalari doctrine would be tested once more, its verdict written in plasma and quantum rifts. High above, in the silent cathedral of the observation deck, she whispered to the void, "Prepare for deployment. The Icarian fleet awaits our command." And deep within the ship's core, the Ethulia pulsed in anticipation, ready to render war into formula, or so its captain believed. The Ethulia's rift drive flared to life as it slipped from hyperspace, casting prismatic arcs of light across the vessel's polished inner hull. Captain Orcs stood on the bridge, antennae quivering as sensors reconstructed the Iridia Prime system in breathtaking detail, swirling turquoise clouds, continents sculpted by endless storms, and one solitary ship already in orbit, a silhouette unlike any recorded in Kalari archives. Commander Rethan's multifaceted eyes widened. "Scanning, no matching profiles," he reported, fingers dancing over the holomap. "Energy signatures are off-chart. Densely packed plasma coils, variable electromagnetic fields, and, oddly, an organic resonance I can't classify." "Show me visuals," Celia commanded. The main viewport swiveled and every eye in the bridge chamber turned upward. There, against the rolling emerald seas of Iridia Prime, drifted a battleship built for brute resilience rather than elegance. Riveted plating, scarred by countless engagements, clusters of turreted batteries bristling along its flanks, and at its prow, a jagged emblem, a coiled serpent entwined around a spear. Human, one of the junior tacticians muttered, his chanticleer thin voice betraying wonder and fear. Humans were a fringe myth in Kalari lore, primitive, chaotic, unworthy of serious threat. Yet here it was, unmistakable in shape, behavior, and brash defiance. Within moments, the human ship powered its weapons. A volley of charged particle torpedoes streaked through space, each projectile humming with ferocious light. Celia's voice cut through the alarms. "Evasive pattern Sigma Delta 7, she keyed her comms. "Prepare shields, frequency sweep." The Athulia's crystalline barriers flickered as they shifted resonance, sending 2 torpedoes harmlessly arcing away. But the third struck true, bursting through a secondary node and sending shockwaves rattling through the flagship's core. Emergency lights stained the bridge in dull crimson. Shields at 50%. Reactor coupling unstable. Rethan's 6-lens eyes darted between readouts. "Return fire," Celia ordered, voice steady despite the quake beneath her feet. Drones unfolded from concealed bays, their echo phase blades shimmering as they launched in precise arcs toward the human ship. The Kalari believed in the art of the perfect strike, each drone programmed to optimize kill zones, minimize waste. But the human vessel did not scatter. Instead, it pivoted, exposing broadside after broadside of heavy turrets, plasma lances, and stout tearing through drone formations with savage concussive force. Explosions blossomed in the void as the Athulia's tactical screens tracked rampant drone losses and mounting hull stress. Below decks, the mess hall became an impromptu infirmary. Medics slathered regeneration gel onto cracked exoskeletons. Technicians huddled over fractured data crystals, attempting to recalibrate. Flares of panic flickered in lower corridors, unheard-of casualties under Kalari doctrine. Back on the bridge, Celia's mandibles clicked in frustration. "They're improvising," she muttered, "adapting faster than simulation parameters." "Allow," Rithan's mandibles twitched. "Their tactics are unpredictable. They're not playing to kill zones or shield harmonics. They're surviving, persisting." A second human salvo slammed into the Athulia, this time targeting life support manifolds. Oxygen thresholds dropped in green-lit warning bars. Crew members gasped behind sealed helmets as the bridge atmosphere turned stale. "Rithan, prepare boarding parties," Celia decided, heart hammering in her chest. "I want to know what drives these humans, what flaw in our doctrine we've overlooked." As the Athulia shuddered in orbit, its boarding shuttles cut through the storm-tossed skies of Iridia Prime. Below, lightning-split clouds roiled, echoing the chaos blooming in Celia's mind. The Kalari doctrine had always assured flawless victories. Yet here, among the storm and stars, it had met its first true challenge, and it was not a strategic anomaly, but something far more elemental, the unpredictable will of the human spirit. The void around Iridia Prime had become a shattered tapestry of wreckage. Fragments of drifting drones, twisted hull plating, and drifting cargo pods tumbled in the half-gravity of damaged warp fields. The Athulia's quantum rift generators, once a source of near-omnipotent tactical advantage, now sputtered erratically, each pulse threatening to collapse the local space-time mesh. On the bridge, display holopanes flickered with cascading errors. Pockets of unstable subspace had begun folding in on themselves, swallowing drones whole and strafing crew quarters with temporal eddies. Below decks, corridors twisted in surreal geometries. Sailors reported flickers of corridor junctions appearing 2 meters further along than expected, while maintenance bots vanished into localized void blooms, never to return. In the ship's medbay, regenerative gel dispensers glowed weakly as surgeons tended to both physical wounds and disconcerted minds. Kalari, trained to think in perfect sequences, now found themselves caught in recursive loops of indecision. Above, the storm-racked planet, Boarding shuttles from both sides collided in furious dogfights. Human drop ships, blackened by plasma scars, carved through the roiling clouds, disgorging Marines armed with pulse rifles that spat staccato arcs of ionized energy. They surged into the Ithulia's lower hangar bays, where Kalari echo-phase blades flooded the decks with a pale surgical light. Yet these blades, designed for precise incapacitation, found themselves clashing against the brutal pragmatism of human close-quarters tactics. Improvised grenades that shattered reinforced doors, shock pikes that overloaded energy shields, and raw, unrelenting momentum that swept Kalari warriors from their feet. Amid the chaos, Lieutenant Mara Kelweiss led a squad of human Marines through a corridor ravaged by collapse. Sparks sizzled across segmented carapace plating as echo-phase drones struck out, their oscillating blades carving arcs through the air. Yet each encounter ended with Kelweiss's squad pressing forward, their hails of pulse rifle fire followed by hand-to-hand takedowns. "Keep moving," her voice crackled through the comlink. "We adapt, we endure, we take the ship back." On the Ithulia's bridge, Captain Celia Vrox watched helplessly as the holomap's probability matrix unraveled. "Their will, it feeds the battle," she growled, antennae quivering. "They learn from every misstep, then modify. They're no simple algorithm." Commander Rethan's composite eyes reflected the flickering display. "Our doctrine did not account for self-regeneration through error. They bleed, but they don't break." As alarms told the imminent breach of structural integrity, the Ithulia lurched violently. The rift core began its emergency shutdown sequence, threatening to tear a hole through the ship's spine. Green-tinged plasma crackled along conduits, warning of overload. Somewhere deep within the hull, massive engines roared out of sync, generating shockwaves that bucked the entire vessel. In that moment of ultimate crisis, when cold logic dictated retreat or self-destruction, both sides paused. Above them, the veiled nebula of Iridia Prime glowed with storm-lit fury. And in the fractured silence, a new realization dawned. This battle was no longer a contest of perfected tactics, but of resilience forged in the unpredictable crucible of chaos itself. The Ithulia's quantum rift core groaned under the strain of cascading failures. Red warning glyphs scrolled along every console, and beneath the observation deck, the ship's skeleton shuddered as if alive with convulsions. Celia Vrox stood before her officers, mandibles locked in grim determination. "Initiate core collapse sequence," she ordered, voice steady despite the howling alarms. "We end this now. Better to die than be bested by chaos." Below deck, engineers raced to override safety interlocks. Drifting fragments of power conduits sparked in dim corridors, painting flickering shadows across stunned crews. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The Ithulia teetered on the brink of spatial disintegration, every moment drawing it closer to a self-inflicted supernova. But then, unexpectedly, the human battleship's comm array burst to life. A clear, unwavering voice cut through the cacophony. "Captain Celia Vrox of the Ithulia," it intoned in accented Kalari, a courtesy unknown among the stars. "We know your doctrine. We see your strength. But we fight not to destroy, but to understand. Stand down." Celia's antennae quivered. The core's countdown stalled at 3, then 2. She hesitated. "Explain," she commanded, trying to mask the quake in her voice. There was a brief silence, then the voice returned, softer, nearly somber. "War is not a formula. It is lived, fueled by loss, hope, fear, and sacrifice. We adapt not because we calculate every move in advance, but because we endure what no algorithm can predict." On the bridge, the core collapse override lit up. Engineer drones scurried forward, severing the shutdown protocol. The Ithulia's shudder lessened. The threat of spatial rupture receded. Celia found herself alone in the observation dome moments. Later, staring out at the battered human ship drifting against Iridia Prime's emerald horizon, a single envoy shuttle descended through storm-tossed clouds, its hull pitted but wings intact. Celia watched as its engines flared, guiding it to the Ithulia's docking bay. She felt, for the first time in her career, uncertainty bloom in her neural weave. When the hatch opened, 3 human officers stepped inside, a tall commander in scarred armor, a stoic lieutenant whose gaze held compassion, and a medic offering a single white lily as a gesture of peace. The medic spoke first, voice low. "We come with respect for your prowess and sorrow for lives lost. Teach us about your doctrine, and allow us to share ours." Celia, the warrior bred on certainty, found her own words stalling. Then slowly, she bowed her head in acknowledgement. "I will learn your way," she said, and turned, beckoning them down the crystalline corridor toward the heart of Ithulia. As they walked, the ship's systems hummed in cautious harmony. The human equation, this unpredictable blend of heart and mind, had rewritten the rules of war. And beyond the viewport, Iridia Prime's clouds roiled once more, as if applauding a new chapter in the history of 2 species daring to understand one another.